Hello and welcome back. My name is Alicia Ann, and today we are going to break down how to sing Demons by Imagine Dragons. If you missed it, I posted an example cover right up here of me singing it as a model to kind of show you what direction I'm heading in with this song. So much of growing as a musician is just having a vision for how it's supposed to be. So that cover is there for that reason, and now let me teach you how I did it. So starting at the beginning, this song is very interesting from a phrasing perspective because the arrival point is in the middle of the line. When the days are cold and the cards all fold. Days, cards, saints, made. Those are where you're striving to go. That's where you're going with each phrase. Everything in music is always waving. It's either going somewhere or coming away from somewhere. And usually it happens at the beginning or the end of a line, but this song, it happens in the middle. It's very interesting. So at each of these arrival points, I want to encourage you to stop and practice it until it sounds how you want. There are a million directions you could go in. When the days are cold, or when the days are cold and the cards all fold. What I'm personally trying to do is kind of sustaining the energy when we get there. So it's like we're moving and then suddenly it's like psh, and then we're moving again. It's like psh, on each of those arrival points. When the days are cold and the cards all fold and the saints we see are all made of gold. You could argue gold is another arrival point, but that's kind of the idea for this whole intro. When your dreams all fail and the ones we hail are the worst of all and the bloods run stale. Now in the pre-chorus, the main thing to remember is we talk a lot about talk singing. That applies here, but in a slightly different way. I want to urge you to not over project. Don't feel like you're singing to the masses. You're talk singing as if you're having a conversation with someone who is 2 feet away. I wanna hide the truth, I wanna shelter you. As opposed to over singing would sound like, I wanna hide the truth, I wanna shelter you. It could sound good in a certain context, but this song is growing up until the first chorus. You don't want there to be too much of a jump and then you don't have much room to grow. So keep it to yourself, pretend like you are just singing this to yourself or someone who is right in front of your face. I wanna hide the truth, I wanna shelter you, but with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide, no matter what we breed. I want to talk about that real quick. In my cover that I did of this song, I did that little break in my voice I just did here. No matter what we breed. And then you'll notice I did not do it again throughout the rest of the song when this melody comes back. Couple different reasons for that. Total transparency, the main reason was when it came out, I was like, that's not exactly what I wanted. It's not bad, it's definitely a certain style and it fits. I wasn't ashamed of it. But sometimes when you're in performance, you hear something come out and you say, that isn't quite the color, the texture, the flavor that I'm going for. So I'm gonna leave it out the rest of the time. Or maybe you hear it and you're like, yes, that is exactly what I wanted. It was a gift, it was like a delicacy that you put in the middle of the song, and you don't want to disperse them all over the place, so you just want to give it the one time. Never overuse cries or breaks like that one there, or hot take, even vibrato, don't overuse it, because too much ornamentation leads to the opposite effect that you want. It takes away from the musicality instead of adding to it. No matter what we breed, we still are made of greed. This is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. When you feel my heat. So here at the end of the pre-chorus, what we're doing, so we're building the song, and then right before we get to the chorus, we bring it back down. Breathe, this is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. And then we explode when the chorus comes. Again, this is adding to the musical effect of the song. If you bring it down, then the contrast of bringing it up is going to be so much greater than if you were already at that certain height with the intensity, the volume, the emotion. Everything has to be, for this song, a slow burn until you get there. But now we have arrived. So we're at the chorus. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. So this is the first chorus. The first chorus and the second chorus are going to be approached vocally in two very different ways. The first one, I'm holding back a little bit, especially when we go up to the when you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It is no strange concept on this channel, the concept of singing off the body, or as I debunked in my previous video about 5 vocal myths that you shouldn't believe, we talked about falsetto versus head voice, and the main difference is the connection to the body and to all of the stuff going on physiologically. So on the word feel, when you feel my heat, that one word I'm doing in falsetto in this chorus. Now let's talk about what that actually means, because you can't just say, hey voice, sing in falsetto for that one word, and then you just do it. What does it mean to sing in falsetto? What does it mean to not have it supported and connected to the body that would make it head voice or belting, however you choose to use your muscles? So the first way is with breath control, not breath support, not the volume of air, how much you're using, but the control that you have of what's in the tank. Your ability to control what is coming out and when. This takes practice, and I have a few exercises that I give to my students about how to control your air and how to practice letting a lot out at once, a little bit. But since we are focusing on a specific song and a specific approach here, I'm going to urge you to practice just that interval a few times. Now, here's the big disclaimer. You are going to crack. The first few times you try this, it's not going to be what you want because you are changing so much in here. It has to adjust. It has to figure out what it feels like every time you're going to do that. So just do that interval a few times. When you feel, and most of the time you'll probably fall a little short. When you feel my heat, and then coming down is also going to be a little shaky. When you feel my heat. So do that a few times until you figure out how much is needed to support it up there. Again, there is a color change if you choose to pop into falsetto. So explore your voice, explore your specific instrument, and decide if that's something that you want to try. So that's the first step. And after you figure that out, then we can talk about how to make it consistent and reliable. Now, since we are at the chorus, I'm gonna go ahead and pop to the second chorus where we change the approach and we're no longer flipping into the falsetto, but instead we're using our full voice. I tell my students all the time, singing is a full body experience. So there's a few different games, exercises, whatever you wanna call it, to help make you successful, especially when you're controlling the belt up there, and that it's a high D if you're in the key I am, which is key of G. When you feel my heat, you want it to be open, of course. A trap that a lot of people fall into is constricting it too much. When you feel my heat. And it makes the music sound less alive, if that makes any sense. So a couple things that you can try, take a pretend softball and try to throw it, up 200 feet across the room. When you feel my heat. I'll also caution you and say the first 100 times you do this, you're going to lose control of the note because you're using more force than you normally use when you're just standing and singing. Another thing you can try is a wall push-up on that note. When you feel my heat, go down on the word feel. And again, it's gonna sound out of tune, that's okay. You are learning what it feels like to use more than just what's here. And the last thing to think about, which is more conceptual than something physical that you can do, but when you start to sing higher, your vocal cords, your vocal folds are actually thinning. So allow them to get thinner, to get smaller. A lot of times what makes an unsuccessful belt is when you bring up too much weight to the higher note and it sounds shouty. It sounds like you're yelling the note instead of singing it because those chords are not thin enough for it to have the zingy sound instead of the weighted ah kind of sound. And another thing to be aware of, we are doing this on closed vowels. E and oo are the most closed vowel. Feel, my heat, look into my eyes. It's not like we're saying ah or eh. Those are more open. It's easier to sing higher on an open vowel. The words don't help us out, but we can adjust as long as you're aware of what's going on. And the last thing I want to say is when you're practicing these two choruses, the first one that is a little bit softer on the high note and the second one which is a little bit more powerful on the second, choose one to practice at a time. So like spend all your focus on the falsetto version for a while and then get that the way you want it to sound and then move on to the more belty one. You can start with the belty one if that feels more comfortable, if you feel stronger on that and you want to master it before moving back to the falsetto. But it's probably not wise to switch in between when you're still trying to learn the two very different styles. And the beautiful thing about mastering these concepts is once you have it, you can apply it to any song that you sing. So don't sell yourself short by saying, no, I want to do it right on this song only, so I'm going to do both of them at once and figure out how it feels between. Of course, that's an important step, but you're skipping the step of learning them in isolation. Don't be that guy. Don't skip the steps that are going to build your voice in the long run. And if you want to turbocharge your journey and figure out how to master them faster, I'm always available for a Zoom private lesson. All the information is below on how to book that with me. But I think that's going to do it for today. The beauty of a pop song is it's verse, chorus, and they kind of repeat. So I hope that this has been helpful today. Let me know down below if you have any additional questions about this song, something I didn't talk about that you're struggling with, or if you have another song suggestion that you'd like to see me break down. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Until then, stay well and keep singing.